And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the 49ers episode. Yes, we will be talking about the San Francisco 49ers 7-on-7 team. And speaking of numbers, all five of us are here today, which I feel like it's been a while since there's been five of us.
Yeah, for sure.
We've had a rough go of it attendance-wise. Life's been pretty busy, and Drew's a bum. So
Drew's just been busy.
Yeah.
We're good though. I'm back.
And he was on time today. He wasn't even the last one
I
to
beat
show
Alex
up.
here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, yes. But that being said, let's get started. Drew, who is your 49ers quarterback?
Well, I went with Steve Young.
So did I.
I did not.
Well, I thought about it for a little bit between him and Montana, but I know Montana probably has like the higher stats and stuff, but I think Steve Young being able to be more of a dual threat on the move, and then their numbers are actually kind of similar. They're pretty like some of the totals and stuff are like some closer than what you think. Steve almost had 30,000 yards his time in San Fran. He had 221 touchdowns, only threw to 86 interceptions. He also led the league 5 times in completion percentage was his time in San Francisco. Led the league 4 times in touchdowns. So I mean, he was efficient with his time. I mean, they basically were using the same teams as well during that time, so pretty similar comparisons there. And I like Steve Young a little bit more than Montana. So
And they both got 2 MVPs.
yeah, I would say they both. I mean, he's got a plethora of awards. He's Super Bowl MVP. Like Dad said, 2 MVPs. He's got an Offensive Player of the Year. He's got 3 first-team All-Pros. I think he's 6 times All-Pro if you count the second teams. 7-time Pro Bowler. But yeah, that's why I chose Steve Young.
Is there, I mean, this is a little off topic, but like, I've really been thinking about this lately. Is there something with football where they don't count the second teams? Like, why do they split them up?
I don't know. I've noticed. Yeah.
You know, because they don't split them up in basketball.
Nope.
No.
You know, so
Baseball doesn't have them.
Yeah, baseball doesn't have it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Silver Slugger is your offensive, I guess, technically, and then your Gold Gloves are your defensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's technically what
Right.
those are.
Yeah.
But
I just don't understand it. And then like you just said it, like I'm not coming at you, Drew, but you were just like, if you count the second teams, he's 6, and it's like, but who doesn't count the second
Right,
teams?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Football Reference, evidently.
yeah,
yeah, it's just weird because like some of the guys will be like, some of those really good guys, you're like, oh, he has 1, but then when you go down and go through it, oh yeah, by the way, he actually has 6. He has 5 second teams because he's playing in the same era as like the number 1. Like some of the good quarterbacks, like in the era I've been growing up with, like Peyton and Tom Brady and Drew Brees and all of them. Some of them like only have like, I'm sure, I don't know exactly off the top of my head. Let me see what Peyton's is, but I bet it looks lower than what it actually is.
well, Drew Brees is the one that got really hurt award wise by playing with those 2 guys. You know,
Okay, well, Peyton says his is 7-time All-Pro, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 10. So he has double-digit All-Pros. When you only see 7, you're like, oh well, 7 for only 17 years in the league. That's not even like half his career. But like when you take 10 and 2, you're like, oh, he was actually All-Pro. So like, I mean, stuff like that. But yeah, Drew Brees looks even worse. He's like what, 1? Maybe his is bad.
and he has I mean, if Drew Brees would have put up the numbers he put up in any other era of football, he'd have MVPs and first team All Pros and
With Breeze, it wasn't just Peyton and Brady; it was also Rodgers.
yes, you're right, Rodgers.
Rodgers
Yep.
screwed him over a couple
So I
of those
mean,
years.
he missed out on a lot from those 3 guys.
And Drew Brees has 1 All-Pro.
First team.
Yeah, one.
One
But then he's got 4 second teams, so he really has 5. But
which is good, but it's not elite.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
it's
Like,
just so weird to read off. 13 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. You're like, what?
Not adding up, man.
But yeah, that's
anyway, I just got us off on a tangent, but anyway, yeah, Steve Young, hell of a quarterback. Anybody else got anything to add on Steve before we move on?
No.
All right, Ray, we're around.
I found my paper, and I do actually have Steve Young.
Oh, there you go. Then there you go. Well, we're not around to you. Then we're around to me because I have Colin Kaepernick. No, I'm just kidding.
oh no.
We're about to just call it.
Alex is about to lose his.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.
Yeah, we're done.
We're replacing probably seen our host.
Oh man, sorry, I couldn't help myself. No, I went with Joe Montana, and I had never dreamed in a million years that I'd be the only one to pick Joe Montana, who until very recently was considered the greatest quarterback of all time. But in his San Francisco 13 years, he threw for 35,000 yards, 244 touchdowns, and 123 picks. On a 63% completion percentage. He led the league in completion percentage 5 times. Led the league in touchdowns twice. And where am I missing his? Am I gonna pull up his rushing stats? Yeah, there. I just had to go down like 4 sections to find his rushing stats. Yeah, and he ran for like a little over 1,500 yards, 20 touchdowns. So, wasn't completely immobile, but definitely not the previously mentioned Colin Kaepernick, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
And like I think it was already mentioned in the Steve Young section, he has a couple MVPs. He has 3 Super Bowl MVPs and 4 Super Bowls, 8 Pro Bowls, 5 All Pros. Yeah, and you know a bunch of other accolades like other MVPs that I don't know what their things stand for. He's on the '80s All Hall of Fame team. He's got an Offensive Player of the Year. So yeah, Joe Montana.
And don't get him confused with Joe Montana.
Sure. All right. Well, I think we're to Wade now. Wade, do you have a non-quarterback for us?
I went with Jerry Rice.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's a solid pick, Wade.
Yeah.
The shocker of the
Yeah.
Well, with the 49ers, he had just 19,000 yards, almost
Yeah.
almost 1,300 receptions, and 176 touchdowns.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I wonder what you think his just 49ers numbers, where do you think it puts him in the overall rankings for wide receivers?
He's still number 1 all time in yards, I believe.
Really?
I think
so.
I think he's still number 1 all time in touchdowns too. And if he's not number 1 in receptions, it's close.
Yeah, I was trying to remember how many
Someone
yards
might have-
Fitz ended up retiring with, because Fitz had quite a bit.
I think
Fitz
he.
had like 16 or 17,000.
Was
Oh, I
that-
think he might be at 18.
Maybe it is 18.
He's not at 19. I don't think. I know he's at 17 or 18. I believe.
Was it Moss second all time in touchdowns, like 150
I
something?
think that's right.
So he's got the touchdowns just for the.
You're right.
49ers.
Larry Fitzgerald has like 17,500 yards.
okay.
Yeah.
Then he's just below 1,300 receptions. So he'd be like first or second, I'd guess.
You said 1,300?
He's at 1,281.
I'll say Fitz has 1,432.
Well, he's definitely not there yet.
So, but yeah, he'd still probably be top 5 though,
Yeah.
or top 3 or something.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, indeed it is. Almost 23,000 yards for his career. That's insane.
Pretty dumb.
And then with all that, what does it say? He averages almost 15 yards a catch
Yeah.
for his career.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
amazing.
That's wild when you have over 1,500 catches.
All these young people coming out and saying that Jerry Rice isn't the greatest receiver of all time. I just like shake my head. Like I don't even want to argue with you because I think you're an idiot.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of one of the things I thought was kind of neat about Cooper Kupp, the year that he could have broken a bunch of those records and things. And he just said, I'm getting an extra game. And he said, Jerry didn't have that. Calvin Johnson didn't. He gave credit to those guys for being great receivers. And I don't know. It was kind of nice to see a receiver be humble.
Mm.
I think some of the guys realize that when they get close to some of these records, like the all-time, like. Well, then I think Saquon acknowledged it this year. Like he's like, I have an extra game, but he's like, I'm still gonna take advantage of it.
Sure.
But like, at least like they're acknowledging the fact like they have this extra game. No one has like come out and said, "Oh, I'm just better."
Right.
But like I think we've talked about before, it's so crazy to me that no one's breaking some of the other records, even with the extra game. Like some of the passing numbers, Like that just shows you how good some of these guys were with 16 games and like some of the other records and stuff.
I thought it was a foregone conclusion when they added the 17th game that Patrick Mahomes would break the single season passing records.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a foregone conclusion.
When we went to it, he's gotten worse.
Yeah.
To be honest, like he's not. These last couple years of his career have not been great.
I don't think since they've added the 17th game, I don't think he's thrown for 5,000 yards, has he?
I don't think so.
I thought any of those big time quarterbacks would get the yards pretty easy, like even Herbert or Burrow or Allen or just any of the big.
Even
time
Lamar,
guys
even Lamar at this point.
yeah,
I mean,
any of the guys that just throw a lot.
Mm-hmm.
know, I thought they'd get it.
I mean, even Jared Goff. Jared Goff had like 47 or 4,800 yards this last year. Like, if you're in the right system, you can throw the ball an insane amount. Like, I don't know.
We'll see. See what happens.
I mean, I still think it'll happen at some point. There's going to be some offense, that decides, hey, we don't have a defense, so we're going to chuck the ball all the time, and they're going to do it. It's just a matter of who is going to be and when.
Bengals, that's how their team is set up. They had like the 28th ranked defense.
Who'd you
last
say?
Year. The Bengals.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that
yeah,
is-
yeah.
Receivers they've
Yeah.
got.
Burrow
Joe
led the league
Shiesty?
last year in yards and touchdowns,
Yeah.
and they went 9-8 because their defense sucked ass.
And they haven't done anything to help it. It's going to be the same thing
Right.
again
No,
this
they
year.
won't even bring back their best player.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
they won't bring back their best edge
if
rusher.
the Bengals are going to be good next year, Burrow's going to have to go insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Burrow is just, will you play all season?
Yeah.
Right. They can keep him upright and keep him healthy.
Mhm.
Because their offensive line isn't very good either.
No, because they spent all their money on Burrow and 2 receivers.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
And a tight end. They gave a tight end a contract, too.
Gesicki.
Yeah, I guess that.
Gesicki.
Yeah, I guess that.
his
Yeah.
goofy white run down the middle of the field. Oh, my gosh. He's watching him gritty that one year was bad.
By the way, did you say this, that he has 11 All-Pros?
I didn't say any of his accolades. I said his stats. And
How many are first team?
10.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, anybody else have anything to add on Jerry before we move on?
Nope.
Yeah.
Our first unanimous. All right, Uncle Doug, I think we're to you, sir.
Yeah, well, when you think about 49er receivers, obviously Jerry Rice is first. But as far as famous plays, I think about Dwight Clark and the catch.
Mm.
That's why I went with
Mhm.
Dwight Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, I have him.
2 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, 2 Super Bowl championships, played all 9 seasons with the Niners. slightly over 500 receptions for 6,750 yards, 48 TDs. Led the league once in receptions with 60. That was during the strike season. They only played 9 games. And he also average, there it is, 13.3 yards per catch. He was Joe Montana's safety valve there for a while. And very dependable. And that playoff catch, Cowboy fans will hate him forever.
We see it every year.
Oh,
Yes. It's one of those iconic plays in the NFL that we watch every year when we get that time of the year.
I think most sports franchises that aren't just like absolutely terrible, I'm sure like maybe the Marlins don't have one or something, but like I think most decently successful sports franchises have those plays that have been put into a reel by the league that you see and you kind of cringe like, shit, I hate that play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Or if it's your team, you love that play.
yeah.
It's your play forever.
Uh-huh. That's one of the mini Cowboy ones they don't want to see.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
The Tony Romo when he fucks up.
Yeah, that.
I mean, as
Ezekiel Elliott when he snaps the ball and gets pancaked.
I mean, like every year, I gotta watch. As a Red Sox fan, I gotta watch the ball go between Bill Buckner's legs because the MLB has to play it over and over again during the playoffs.
I
Always.
just saw that today.
Yeah.
See, you saw it today. See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yep.
it's
See
crazy.
that all the time.
yeah, and it's like,
I was watching a YouTube video. There's this baseball guy I found on YouTube, and he breaks down every decade of baseball history. And I watched the '80s one today, and of course, that's one of the main highlights of that one year, whatever year it is.
he's one of the people in sports that I feel super sorry for. Oh, like first off, they've been using a defensive replacement for him in games the whole season.
He was hurt.
Because his knees were shot.
Yeah.
He struggled bending over because his knees were. He was having so many problems with his knees. But he was such a stick, they had to leave him in the game. Like that's the thing that other people don't get is like he's known for that play, but he was actually a really good ball player. He played a really good career for the Cubs.
Right. Yeah. He was a very good ball player.
Yeah.
He was just injured and was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Shouldn't even been in the game.
Yeah. And most Red Sox fans will tell you, like it doesn't matter because let's say he fields that ball, the pitcher Stanley is still standing on the mound.
Yeah.
He's not covering first. So even if he fields it, there's nobody to throw it to.
A lot of people, it wasn't even Game 7 though, wasn't it?
It was Game 6, yeah.
So like, a lot of people think that was like Game 7, and that's what lost the series. There was a whole other game to be played after that.
Yeah, it was just our best chance to win because Clemens had shut the door in that game, and
that was the Mets, right?
It was the Mets, yeah.
The good and the strawberry team or whatever.
Yeah. So, anyway, tangent again. Sorry, Ray. I think we're around to you, buddy. Do you have a non-quarterback for us?
I do, and I went with a running back. Nickname the unconventional. I can't even pronounce that. Anyway, it's Frank Gore.
I have a running back, but not Frank Gore.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I don't have old Frank.
5-time Pro Bowler. Two
That old
Hall
guy.
of Fame All 2000s team. 10 years in San Francisco with 11,073 yards, 64 touchdowns.
Isn't he like second all time in rushing yards?
He's like third.
Is
Yeah, he's
third?
top three.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that, it makes me cringe. I'm just like,
He played in the
outta here.
AFC East for like half a decade, just
Oh,
jumping around from
he
like.
played like 16, 17 seasons.
17, yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, 16. Sorry, 16.
Yeah. What running
Sorry.
back does that?
I mean, it's insane his longevity and consistency.
No, that's his most. That's the most impressive thing about Frank Gore.
Oh, yeah.
Is that he played forever, and
He was decent.
and
the
played
end.
almost every game every season except for his first season.
And with
like-
the 49ers, he was a really good running back.
He was.
But then he just sticks around, and he's not bad for a lot of those years, but he's just tacking on a little bit at a time and just accumulating so many yards.
I mean, 1, 2.
Or like, do you ever remember him being like a top 3 running back in the league?
No, he was just the 49ers' solid running back
Yeah,
that
he
had
was
the
good.
backfield.
5 of his last 6 seasons, he was around 3.5 yards a carry.
Yeah. I mean, he went to us for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually had a 1,000-yard season for you guys.
Yeah. He played for us for a few years.
He ran for 1,000 yards for you guys on less than 4 yards a carry.
How many carries did he get?
263.
Wow. Gosh.
You just give the man the ball, really. Just say,
That's right.
fuck it.
Probably trying to protect Andrew Luck.
So he also had 2,883 receiving yards at 8.4 yards per reception with 11 touchdowns.
Indeed.
I'm absolutely shocked there's a guy who hasn't been said yet.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else to add on Frank Gore before we move on?
Just good, solid running back, top-notch longevity guy. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that makes us around to me, and I'm going with Terrell Owens.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, I have T.O.
I thought he was going to like the second name said after Jerry Rice. And then
By the way,
everyone was doing something different.
By the way, surprisingly enough, I do believe this is the only time he's been put on a team.
Yeah.
Well, I asked you about him at the Eagles episode. 'cause I
Yeah, we
missed
didn't put
it.
him on.
And you
Yeah.
all said
We
you
didn't even bring
do it.
him up.
Did y'all just forget him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought it up like the next episode, the Giants or Redskins episode, somebody's episode, and I was like, I apologize. I didn't even bring Terrell Owens up. Now, he was only there for 2 seasons,
Still.
but he put up huge numbers in those 2
Could have stuck him
seasons.
on them or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He could have put him on either one. He was
Yeah.
a beast for both of them for a period of time.
Yeah, we probably screwed up not putting him somewhere else, but because I think he's top 3 in both yards and touchdowns, isn't he?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's
gotta
definitely
be.
third in touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't know. The yard stuff has changed and the reception stuff has changed around over the past.
He's got almost
10 years.
16,000 yards. He's right below it, just like 65 or 66 yards short of the yardage. But
Definitely up there.
yeah, we're talking about his San Francisco numbers, which he played 8 years in San Francisco. with 8,500 yards on 14 and a half yards a catch with 81 touchdowns. While he was in San Francisco, he led the league in touchdowns twice. Led the league in yards a game once. He also made 3 first-team All-Pros and 4 Pro Bowls while in San Francisco.
Doesn't he have some crazy catch in the first round of the playoffs or something with him and Jeff Garcia? It's a really famous play where he gets sandwiched at the goal line, but he hangs on to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
They like all 3 hit, and then he
Yeah.
comes out. Yeah.
It's like in the wild card round or something. It's like him and Jeff Garcia and like
Yeah.
Steve Mariucci's like the coach or something like that. It was, or maybe Steve Young. Maybe it's like one of Steve Young's last years.
It might be.
It might be
yeah.
Steve Young's last year or one of his last years.
But somehow they all come together, and he leaves with
yeah,
the ball.
it was a really famous
When
play
did
for a
Steve
long
Young
time.
retire?
Late 90s,
Was it that late?
maybe 2000. I don't know. Then Jeff Garcia took over for him, right?
Yeah, Garcia. Yeah, Garcia was there for a little while.
I'd say late 90s, maybe 2000.
I picked a year here.
Steve
And just
Young's
clicked on it.
last year is 1999.
99.
Okay. Yeah, he's not on the 2000 team because I just pulled it up. But yeah, 99. Yeah, and in 2000 they went 6-10 with Jeff Garcia. But yeah, Garcia did have some big moments in his career, not just with the 49ers. Like he was like that backup that would come in periodically and just like make some crazy plays for you. Like he did it for the Eagles. He was our backup for a year or two,
I think
and he ended up. I think he came in for like
Mhm.
maybe Michael Vick or something when Michael Vick got hurt one time, and like had a couple big games for us. Like he was that guy. I kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick, where he'll come in and have some gigantic games for you, but he'll get exposed if you make him start all 16 games. You know.
I think the first part of his career, he started for a little while.
Yeah,
with the
I believe you're
49ers.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he became like a backup the whole second half.
Well,
of his career.
didn't they bring him in from the Canadian Football League?
They might have.
I think that's where he started. I think he was a pretty big star up there.
So I thought him and Tio had some pretty big seasons in the early 2000s. They had a running back that was decent too, Von Hurst or something. Or
I think they had Hurst and didn't wasn't Ricky Waters there for a couple
Yeah.
years too?
I think Ricky Waters
he was
was.
definitely a
yeah.
49er. I don't remember what time period he was there, but he might have been there with the Steve Young Super Bowl team in the 90s. I don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Anyway, it's not
Yeah.
fucking Jeff Garcia.
But no, T.O. definitely deserves this
Oh yeah.
spot. So Drew, I think we're back around to you, buddy. You got another player for us?
Yeah, I do. I went with old George Kittle.
Me too.
I did
me
as
too.
well. He is a 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. For his career in San Fran, he's got 538 catches, 7,300 yards, and 45 touchdowns.
And he's damn near impossible to tackle.
That yes, he is. He'll get physical with you. Like he's a beast. He's had. I think there was one really injury riddled season. Other than that, he's one of those guys that's always questionable on your fantasy team.
Mhm.
He's one of those. He's got one of the Q Warriors, but he's good. He's solid. So I thought about maybe Vernon Davis, but I think George Kittle's he's dominated a little bit more than he was. But so I went with Kittle.
I feel like Kittle and Kelsey are the two faces of this past generation of tight ends. Kelsey's the dominant receiving one, and Kittle's the all-around monster that blocks and does everything.
Yeah.
Kelsey's the receiving monster. They're the two faces of the tight end position of the past generation.
Yeah, we've had guys jump in and out of that conversation with them, but nobody sustained it. Like Gronk was there for a few years, but it was the end of his career. It wasn't the prime of his career. And then you've had guys like Ertz jump in there, and you had here the last year or two, you've had like Bowers and what's the kid from the Cardinals, McBride have huge years, but like you just like, are they going to stay there? Because the last handful of guys haven't.
I feel like Kittle and Kelsey, they burst onto the scene during the end of like the Gronk, Olsen, Jimmy Graham period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they took over for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've kind of been carrying the
Kittle's
load
first
for a
year
while.
was 2017, so that's definitely towards the end of all that.
yeah. I'd say Kelsey's been around a while. Kelsey's played a good 11, 12 years.
Kelsey's probably been at least like 13 or 14.
And he had the worst
I
year of
think.
his career last year, so like it may be the beginning of the end for Kelsey. He may
You
be
can watch
slowing
him
down.
play. He's slower.
Yeah.
He's much, much slower. He still knows how to like beat a zone and get to the right spot, in certain situations, but he struggled to get open during certain playoff games this year.
And then, like, I mean, maybe this is just me thinking too much. I don't know. But, like, since the Chiefs are on TV every single week, you get to see him all the time. I feel like when he takes hits now, like, he asks out all the time after he takes a hit. Like, he'll get hit. Not just, like, no, I'm not talking about every single hit, but I mean, like, a decent hit where he's, like, gets tackled well, not just drugged down slowly or something. Like, he seems to, like, wave at the sidelines and want to come out of the game afterwards. I think things are starting to add up. Like the hits and the physicality are
No,
starting
he
to add
just
up.
took too many booster shots from that fucking Corona vaccine he was advertising.
He did. He was the face of that.
He just looked way more tired this
Or he's
season.
worn out
He
from
pulled the
going.
Jason Witten. The last couple years of Jason Witten's career, he'd catch a 5-yard pass and drop to the ground before he got smashed. He'd catch it and then just tuck down.
Jerry Rice did it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say Kelsey started to do it the past couple
I mean,
years.
Tyler Lockett's done it since
Catch
like
it,
year
just boom,
two.
just goes
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Which is probably smart. If you get the first down, just go down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You're in your 12th year, 13th year, and you've been patrolling the middle of the field and the seam your whole career. Don't
You know
take
what's
that
coming.
punishment. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
safety's
and the
not
other
gonna knock your
theory is
block
he's
off.
probably worn out from getting pulled around from Taylor Swift's pulling the leash all the time on
Well,
him.
I heard Kansas City fans talk about it. They thought the reason he was doing all these things this year is because he was out of shape because he was on her tour all off season instead of working out.
Right.
That was what they were saying. I'm not saying it was true.
That was the
I do
rumor
know he
last
went
year.
on tour with her, but I don't know if like he wasn't working out or anything. I don't have any insight into that, but
Probably
I'm
pulling
sure
a
it's a
Luka.
combination of things. He's never been a guy that's been in a super peak condition.
right.
I mean, you've never looked at him and think, "Wow, that dude's a physical freak."
Right, you don't look at him and be like, "Oh, that looks like Gronk."
Yeah.
You never see a Travis Kelsey workout video.
You don't
No,
see him with
you
his
do
shirt
not.
off anywhere.
No.
Like, ripped. You know, he's.
By the way, they did the other day. Did you see him?
Uh,
Like he is so. This is gonna sound weird, but he's so hairy.
oh, I don't. I haven't
Like,
seen it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
they just posted a picture of him and Taylor the other day, and he had his shirt off, and like everybody was commenting on it, but like, who'd have thought this guy was so hairy? Like,
I just when I look at him and when he has pads on, I just think dad bod.
yeah,
Well,
Which I mean, he's a Hall of Fame tight end, so I'm not dissing on him. It's just
his brother's pretty hairy. I mean, he's got his shirt off a lot of times.
Jason always has
Jay-
his shirt on.
Jason looks like a guy that should be hairy.
hey,
Like,
he's a fucking wildebeest. Got the biggest beard of all time. And
That dude's still living at the frat house.
Jason Kelsey's awesome.
so last year they had a whole series of Chiefs Days at the elementary school, and where my boys go to school, and one of the days was you either dress up like Travis Kelsey or Taylor Swift, and so Zane and Xander wore Team Jason t-shirt. I had them made. Like it says Team Jason on it. And so yeah.
One of my friends up at Culver, they're huge Steelers fans. So his he was at school, but I think it was one of the Steeler Monday night. You know, he's on Monday Night Football. Jason Kelsey. Well, it's Kevin, Dad. You know his little sister.
Okay.
Well, she was in the crowd. He picks her up, and it's actually his little sister. He picked up one of my friend's little sisters, and I carried her around on Monday Night Football for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like, I thought that was funny and cool.
That's
like
cool.
He does cool stuff like go into the stands and chug a beer with some fans and like stuff like
I
that.
did that whole thing with the Buffalo Bills fans like last year.
Yeah.
He spent the whole game out
Yeah.
with like the wild Buffalo fans, and he was getting hammered with them. He crawled like out of the box,
Yeah.
into the stands. He was like drunk and was walking around with, like no shirt on, hanging out with the Bills people and getting
Yeah.
hammered. And then he like crawled back into the window, back into like the little box area. And I guess his wife was mad at him or whatever.
Well, she does. She gets frustrated with him periodically, but like no. But then right after that, he disappeared for a week or two because he had that altercation with a fan where
Yeah,
he smashed the guy's cell phone.
the guy kind of deserved it.
Oh, the guy totally deserved it, but you know, ESPN is super sensitive to their personalities doing stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, we're off on a tangent. So I've been doing that a lot tonight. So anyway, I think that was you, wasn't it, Drew?
Yeah.
So we're around to Wade.
Well, I'll go ahead and go with my running back. I went with Roger Craig,
So did
I
I.
did as well.
Yep, I did too.
the first ever running back in NFL history to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving in a season. First guy to ever do it. He was one of their big weapons in the Montana era. Has a kind of an underrated career. It was just kind of an all-around monster. Finished his whole career with over 8,000 rushing yards and just under 5,000 receiving yards. So it was just an all-around, great all-around back, and one of the first guys to ever really, do that. There was maybe a few other ones, but he was, he was a beast coming out of the backfield, rushing and receiving, and in 7-on-7, I feel like he'd be perfect. He made 4 Pro Bowls, a first-team All-Pro. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Yeah, like I said, he was one of their go-to guys during that time period when they were knocking off Super Bowls left and right. So
Yep.
I've heard some people say they wish he was in the Hall of Fame just because of the all-around numbers he put up. Plus, he was on a team that won 3-4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he's got 3 Super Bowls, so you'd think he probably would get in, to be
I would
honest.
think.
And he's got an Offensive Player of the Year.
I mean, like we've talked about this before, like championships create Hall of Famers. Like,
Right.
He's got 4 Pro Bowls, 2 total All-Pros.
Well, and you've got an Offensive Player of the Year too. So I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
And then you're the first person ever to have 1,000 and 1,000 in a season. That's a pretty big monumental thing, I'd say.
But I bet during that time, though, nobody gave a shit about all-purpose yards because that wasn't what running backs did then.
right.
yeah, no one probably
I
cared.
think it was just part of that revolutionary offense that
It
Walsh
was.
came up with.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was.
It's just about
They
using your
didn't know what
guys
to do
and
with that.
getting them into space and giving them space to run. And Montana just had to make the right read and deliver it. And
I bet it was viewed similarly, though, to like until very recently how we viewed running quarterbacks. Like, that's not your job, so we don't care that you did that.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably.
things
Yeah.
were viewed very differently back then.
Yeah,
They were. But he'd be a fucking star today.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
totally.
He'd honestly,
No doubt.
he'd be used more.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
obviously he was used a ton in multiple ways, but he'd probably be even bigger part of an offense now.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Uncle Doug. Well, do you have another player for us?
I do. I went with Gene Washington. Gene played 10 years. All but one of those were with the Niners. He started in 1969, finished with them in 77, took 78 off, and played a little bit for Detroit in 79. He had 385 receptions for 6,856 yards, averaging 17.8 yards per catch and 60 touchdowns over that time period. He led the league in yards one year with 1,100. He led the league once in touchdowns with 12, and he led the league once in yards per catch at 21.2. He also led the league once in yards per game at 84.6. He was quick. He was 6'2", 185. I remember watching him play back in the day, and he was a pretty amazing receiver.
Are you that a solo there?
Yeah, that's a solo.
You sound really bummed about it.
Well, I realize it's probably before any of you guys remember.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about him.
Yeah, retired like 79. So
There were other
you guys wouldn't.
there were other guys that I knew more about. So.
Sure.
All righty. Well, Ray, I think we're around to you, buddy.
Well, I went with a newer guy, Debo Samuel.
So did I.
I thought about Debo.
Wow.
Just 2 of us.
I couldn't remember how many teams we put Anquan Bolden on. So I kind of was going between Anquan Bolden or Debo because I couldn't remember how many teams we put.
Ooh,
Bolden
did we
on.
put him on the Ravens?
That's what I couldn't remember. I know we put him on Arizona.
Yeah, we did put him on Arizona.
yeah,
for
he's on
sure.
If
Arizona.
he's not on the Ravens, I'm going Bolden. But if we use Bolden already, I'm going with Debo.
Okay.
One-time Pro Bowler, 1 All-Pro. 6 years, 4,792 yards, 14.3 reception with 22 touchdowns. He's just a good all-around wide receiver. Big body, go out there and get it kind of guy. Almost unstoppable at times.
And we did put Bolden on the Ravens.
So
So-
put 3 on.
okay.
Debo.
And I'm out, by the way.
I'm out as well.
By the way, I just want to throw this out there. Debo also has a little over 1,100 rushing yards for his career.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They actually ran him quite a bit in San Francisco.
Yeah, I like that little
Yeah, that one
trickery
year when they
shit.
ran out running backs.
Yeah, that year, I just looked at it. Yeah, he had 60 rushes for 365 yards.
That was wild. Every week you're going to the freaking transaction portal on fantasy football and pick up whoever the 49ers are pulling off the practice squads for running. Because you knew they were getting 20 carries.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan didn't care who it
Like-
was.
yeah, they had like 5 running backs that year that had 100-yard games or something.
Yeah,
like
like
that.
it was like if you needed a running back late in fantasy, you were picking up whoever the 49ers were just bringing in. Like
That's
it
the
was-
crazy season though, because Debo led the league in yards per catch at 18. He caught 77 balls for 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. So really nice receiving season, and then also ran the ball 60 times for 365 yards and 8 touchdowns.
now he's in Washington.
Yeah, so I'm not really thrilled about that.
No, I bet you're not. It'll be interesting.
I mean, with Debo, the question is always, and it has always been, is he going to be healthy?
Right. Yeah.
Because he's super, super physical. So he does and they were running him. Like I said, they were lining him up in the backfield and pitching him the ball.
Yeah.
So he was taking a beating.
Yeah. He got beat up pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right.
I got one left. Who else has got one?
I've got one left.
Okay.
All right. Well, I don't. So you can skip me and go right to Drew.
Okay. Well, my final player, I went with another running back. I went with Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah.
We have him on the Panthers, correct?
Yeah.
I would hope so. Yeah. But yeah,
forgot about
I
that.
thought old Christian could make this team. I went with him instead of putting another receiver because I think he's just as versatile as some of these. I guess I say lower tier receivers for the 49ers. So I went with old Christian. His time in San Fran, just 3 years. He's got 2,400 rushing yards, and he's got 1,100 receiving yards, and he's also won an Offensive Player of the Year in his time in San Fran. And he also had, let's see how many touchdowns. Where is that receiving? He has 11 receiving touchdowns and then 20 rushing touchdowns. So I mean, I think, and I remember one of the games. This was against the Rams, but he was, I think, one of like 2 players all time to have a passing, a rushing, and a receiving touchdown all in the same game. And it might have all been in the same half because Dad was not happy. And it was like his first game with the 49ers, and Dad was not happy, but I remember that. He's just a versatile player, and like he's the typical player like I think you would like to see on like at the end of your roster, like on 7-on-7, because like he could easily go line up in the slot, he could be in the backfield. So I think, I don't know, I like McCaffrey too as well. So that's why I picked McCaffrey.
Okay.
I think he's a little bit more. I know he has his injury problems and stuff, but I still think he's reliable and stuff. I don't know.
Since he's been in San Francisco, he's thrown 1 pass for 1 completion for 34 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Alrighty.
All right.
Does that
And-
make you out now, Drew?
Yep, I'm done now.
All right. So it's just Ray with a player left.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
All right. Another newer guy. I went with Brandon Ayuk.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's been there 5 years. He was injured he was in contract
He was in
disputes or something?
contract dispute to start the year.
He spent like all off season like holding out or something, didn't he? And then he
Yeah.
got hurt and like didn't play last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
I think
played-
Yeah,
I think he tore his Achilles, didn't he?
he did something.
It was something major.
Caused a big riff on the team there for a while.
Yeah. But within that, like 4.5 years, he pulled in 4,305 yards, 14.6 yards reception with 25 touchdowns. No, just another versatile wide receiver to add to the group, you know.
By the way, just while we're on the topic, does anybody know what the fuck the 49ers are doing to this team?
No.
I mean, they shed so much talent this year and then gave a quarterback that I think is middle of the road a huge contract.
Yeah, I was confused. with
And
that.
I don't understand paying a quarterback in Kyle Shanahan's system anyway. Because pretty much everybody that just walks in the door, they're like, oh, make a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
I read some,
Make a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
one of the podcasts I was listening to said that. Okay, so it's advertised as like a 53 million a year contract, but it involves something to do with the year he had left on his rookie contract. So it actually balances out to like being paid like 40 some million, like 44, 43 million a year, which is actually, I mean, they still pay him a ton of money.
That's still a
But
lot,
it's
but
significantly much less than what some of these other guys are getting. So like, Tua was getting paid like 55 million a year to suck and not play.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
don't
Trevor Lawrence has had 1 out of 4 years that was good, and he's getting paid like 55 million. So the 49ers at least got somewhat of a discount by getting this deal because they kind of trapped him into a situation where they were like, I can't remember, they had like leverage on him. They were explaining it in the podcast to where pretty much they were like, we'll pay you, but we're not resetting the market with you because we can trap you for the next multiple years. And in the end, you'll never make up that money that will make you miss out on over the next 2 or 3 years. So you can sign our contract that's a little cheaper, and all of us win. You go from making 900,000 a year to 40 some million a year, or
Which
we
is
can screw
absurd.
you over for 2 or 3 years in a row where you make less than what you're going to make, and then you're never going to make that money back, and then you might get a big deal later down the road, but you're going to miss out on tens of millions of dollars in the long run.
By the way, speaking of I assume you're talking about the franchise tag. So I was just looking at the franchise tag stuff the other day, and like the third year, this is the last year of a quarterback franchise tag, is like $85 million.
Wow.
The third year,
Yeah,
I bet it. Yeah, I can see that now.
yeah, because it's like what is it, 1.5 times the average starter in the league or whatever it is,
Yeah,
like whatever that number it is.
They're like the average of the top 5.
Yeah, it's the average of the top 5. Yeah, I think that's
That's
right.
insane.
Yeah, not the average of the whole league. Average of the top 5, and then it's like 1.5 times that. So the top 5 guys are all making over 50.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think what they're
Yeah.
trying to explain is like they could have made him play out the last year of his rookie contract, which he was the last pick in the draft, so it
Right.
was like $900,000.
Right.
So by him taking this deal, he's making so much more than what he was making that they kind of, and then they could have like franchised him or whatever for a year or two, and then but
Yeah, because the first year of the
it kinda
franchise
worked out.
is like 25 million. So like it's not like he was gonna make. It's not close to what he was gonna make in that first year of this contract. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, a lot of these huge contracts are misleading anyway because the money's not guaranteed in the NFL, so they play all these games with it. And
I mean, they're
you
still
know.
paying him a huge amount of money. So,
Yes.
and anytime
Yes.
you do that, it hampers what you can do around him. No matter, they're still paying him a ton of money. I just thought it was. I've been waiting for at least one team to watch all these different quarterbacks that were getting paid a ridiculous amount of money that didn't deserve it. And I've been waiting for at least one team to be like, we're just not going to do it. So we can strong arm you into doing this and saving us money, and you still get paid a lot more. But we can also do more with our cap because we're going to save 15 million a year by not maxing out the market with you or whatever the case may be.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Wade. But I think it's been done twice now, and both those teams heavily regret it. So now, like teams are less likely to do it because Washington did it to Kirk Cousins, and the Browns did it to Baker Mayfield.
Well, Kirk Cousins had just lived off the franchise tag for so long. And then
And-
he ended up with a fully guaranteed contract.
He ended up
down
with
the line.
2 fully guaranteed
Yeah,
contracts.
which is nuts.
And
Yeah,
the Browns are, well, they're in the mess they are right now.
Yeah, they're in-
Obviously,
they're in-
drafting two quarterbacks.
They're in QB purgatory, and Baker Mayfield's making all pros in Tampa Bay. So I think that set that back. But like Jeremy and I used to have this conversation all the time, where he'd be like, "Well, no matter who the quarterback is, when they come up for a contract, they reset the market," and I would always be like, "Well, that's fucking stupid." And he's
That's what I'm saying.
and he's like, "Well, I know it's stupid, but it's what they do." Like
it is what they did.
Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid player in the NFL for a while
Right.
because he was just the free agent that year that was a quarterback.
Back in the day, Joe Flacco was the
Joe
highest paid.
Flacco, yes. I mean, like a
Old
lot of
Joe.
guys that
In a league that had Peyton,
Mm-hmm.
Brady, and Breeze and Rodgers, Flacco was getting paid the most right up.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like these all these guys have been the highest paid player in the league at one point,
I just
or the
think
highest paid player in the
watching-
history of the league at one point.
I just think watching Tua and Trevor Lawrence getting paid is a fucking nightmare. And I
Yeah.
think more teams should at least be open to the idea of if I don't at least have a top 10 quarterback, I want to explore more options than just resetting the market with you because I just don't know if it's yes, you might have a few rough years right after that if it doesn't work out in your favor, but it's better than being strapped to a guy making $60 million who's the 18th best quarterback in the league, and then
Right.
he can't carry your team, and now you can't put support around him because you're paying him $60 million a year.
I think the other cautionary tale to it, and again, I agree with you, Wade. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that I would have refused to pay.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but-
what I'm saying.
But like, I think the other cautionary tale is Pittsburgh, because
Yep.
Pittsburgh has refused to say, "Hey, we're just going to go into full tank mode to get a new quarterback."
Yeah,
But at the same time, they can't get a quarterback because they can't draft one because they pick so late because they make the playoffs every year, but they have a team that's ready to win.
well, think about it. Over the past 3 or 4 years or 5 years, they've made the playoffs every single year with Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph. Up until like last year when they had Russell Wilson and now they have Rodgers. But
Yeah, bitch boy.
I mean, even shitty Rodgers is better than everyone I just named.
Yes, he is.
Last year's Rodgers is like twice as.
He threw for he was like
Oh, yeah.
35 and 8 last year, touchdown to
Threw
interception,
for almost
and
4,000.
threw for almost 4,000 yards.
Kenny
Like,
Pickett was throwing for literally like 11 touchdowns a year.
yeah,
Literally, like I'm not fucking around. That's literally what he was, and they were making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we all know Mason Rudolph ain't that good.
Or
And
yeah, hitting the head.
You know all about Mitch Trubisky, and he wasn't
Old
even
Mitch.
duplicating his Bears stats with the
Oh,
Steelers.
no,
He was 8 times worse with the Steelers.
let's be honest, the last couple of years of Roethlisberger were like Peyton Manning the last couple of years of Denver.
Yeah.
He couldn't throw the ball.
He couldn't. He sucked.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a knock on Roethlisberger's entire career. It just means when he got old, he lost it.
Well, he
Like-
got the shit beat out of him for a long time. His body broke down. and-
Yeah,
No, but they should have done. They should have found. They're wasting a ton of defensive talent.
Yeah,
they've
they're
had,
waste-
They've had some amazing defensive players.
They only win like 8 or 9 games every year.
Like Cam Hayward's going to retire in a year or two, and Watt's starting to get into his 30s.
Mhm.
Mika Fitzpatrick's
Patrick's
not going to
getting
play
old,
forever.
yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, they've had a championship level defense for a handful of years now, and just wasted it with terrible quarterback play.
Yeah.
Like all these people that like hate on Tomlinson, I'm like, hey, Tomlinson's doing his job. He was hired as a defensive head coach. The defense is a fucking stud. The general manager can't get them a quarterback.
Right.
I would take a coach that could get the most out of his roster and drag us to the playoffs every year than some of the shit we've had to deal with or the Bears have had to
Oh
deal
my
with.
god.
Oh,
I
trust me.
I mean,
I-
you both have. I mean, you have a great coach, and I think your coach has proven himself to be pretty good. I mean, having a bad coach can run your team down for a while.
It can.
For a while.
Tomlin's proven, I think, that he can get a lot out of a little for a long time.
Well, I think I have very, very, they've become increasingly more heated with the Steeler fan the last few years. And essentially my message to him is, you're spoiled.
I know you're talking about.
Yes, you do. I'm like, you're spoiled.
He hates
You
him.
you
He hates
you
them.
are talking to the rest of us about something you don't understand. Because pretty much your entire life, your team has been really good, and you're like almost 60. Like you know, and
Close.
and like yeah, you know, so it's like, dude, like, yes, I understand that because you're Pittsburgh and like it's, you know, we've won a bunch of championships, so like you expect some championships. I understand that to an extent, but teams in this day and age don't win championships without quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the best quarterback in the league, but you have to be pretty serviceable at least.
Yeah,
Can't be a nobody anymore.
Yeah.
We're not
Rod
gonna-
Johnson can't win Super Bowls.
Trent
in
and
this
Trent
era.
Dilfer can't win Super Bowls
Yes.
anymore. We're
Yeah,
There's been too many rule changes to just win with the defense.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Eagles. I mean, Jalen Hurts wasn't the best quarterback in the league.
oh, no.
It's 100% a fact.
Well, at least Jalen Hurts can destroy you in other ways. Then they had Saquon Barkley who went nuts, and
They have a good defense.
I do not
yeah, they had a
believe.
great defense.
I do
last
not
year.
believe that Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league. I do not believe Jalen Hurts is the top 5 quarterback in the league. I don't know where I would rank him because I haven't sat down and looked at it, but it's not top 5.
Yeah.
But
I remember there was a time that we was in this one of these podcasts,
Oh, no.
and it said something about Jalen Hurts, and he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. We got this guy." And
Well, I remember
Well,
as soon as the Eagles drafted him, Alex texted me and said, "What are we doing?"
yeah,
I was
You
pissed.
did.
I was pissed when we drafted number 1 and number 2. I was pissed at him at the bye week this season because he had 7 turnovers in our first 4 games, and we were losing. And I was pissed. I was like, he keeps turning the fucking ball over. But let's be honest here. The reason we went on our run wasn't because of Jalen Hurts. It was because we stopped letting Jalen Hurts throw the football and said, Saquon, here you go, buddy.
Your defense became gnarly.
And our defense was good, too. Yeah, I'm not saying it was just Saquon. But, I mean, that was a big part of our turnaround was we quit letting Jalen throw the ball more than 15 times a game. And now he had a huge Super Bowl, but it was because the Chiefs sold out on Saquon Barkley and put 9 guys in the box on every play, and all you had to do was throw the ball to Slim Reaper or A.J. Brown in one-on-one coverage. Like it wasn't exactly like the greatest performance in the world. Now, again, I also don't want to come across like I hate Jalen Hurts, but like Jalen Hurts is not a top quarterback in the league. I don't believe that, but he's not fucking Anthony Richardson.
It's pretty hard to be Anthony Richardson.
I mean, the guy
boy's
taking
hurt
shots
already.
at me has the worst
Yeah, he's
quarterback
already
situation
out,
in the
yeah.
league for his team. So
Hey, but you
Does
can't.
not go
But
through.
you can't come off at us like that because we don't care. We already know.
no,
that.
you care. You care.
Oh, I hate Anthony Richardson.
No, we don't care. We're
Yo, I got your
we're
message,
over
buddy.
our.
You got it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did.
We're
I
over.
saw that he's hurt already.
We're over our
Yeah.
quarterback situation. We've already gave up for the year.
Did you see my message in the group message, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
Hey,
So
dude, don't be doubting Danny Dimes now. Don't be doubting Danny
Oh,
Dimes.
no.
We're
Bryce,
going
you got
fucking
you got
Daniel
Danny
Jones.
Dimes this year.
Yeah, I guess.
The Rams will trade you Jimmy G.
I don't want that either. At this point, we might. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into this whole.
Yeah. Let's get back to this episode.
All right, fair.
We're on like an hour. We haven't done the defense.
Yeah, we're on it. Yeah, we're at 50 minutes right now.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're on a time limit today.
Yeah.
Time limit.
All right, well, that's our. We got to narrow this down here, gentlemen.
So Alex.
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of befuddled by this. Like, I guess I don't understand your case because, like, he doesn't have more MVPs. He doesn't have more yards. He doesn't have, like, he has less championships. Like, I guess I don't understand the case.
Well, I just did it because in a 7-on-7 setting, Steve Young can throw it around the field more than Joe Montana. And in their primes, if you compare their prime seasons, Steve Young put up better numbers than Joe Montana, I think, running and passing.
Running's not a contest. That's not debatable.
Yeah. I mean, prime Steve Young won in like 8 years. We've talked about this. Made like 6 All-Pros, won 2 MVPs, won like 6 QB rating titles, like 5 completion percentage titles, led the league in touchdowns 2 or 3 times, won a Super Bowl, had like the greatest Super Bowl performance of all time, all in like 7-8 year period. And I don't have anything against Montana. Montana accomplished more in the league than Steve Young. I put Montana higher on my all-time list than Steve Young because he did more than Steve Young. But I just think in a 7-on-7 setting, Steve Young is just can fling it around the field more than Joe Montana. That was really just my main go-to. I don't really have anything against Montana.
I don't know. I like Montana too, but I'm saying
No,
to you, I just feel like Steve's the more mobile, runs better, and
Had a strong
moves
arm. I think.
around.
He could fling
Yeah.
around the field a little more than Montana could, and that's really just about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on my own, so it doesn't matter. But so sure, Steve
I
Young
really
it
don't
is.
care even if we went with Montana. I'm not gonna be like, no, fuck.
I mean, it's the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
I mean, we put both of them in our top 5 quarterbacks of all time.
If
So
you have 2 all-time great quarterbacks in this situation, I'm just gonna go with the one who I think can get it around the field more. That's pretty much just it.
Let's see. I'm out there solo on Washington. I'll go to. Let's see. I can't go to Clark because I'm already at Clark. I can't go to Craig because I'm already at Craig. I'll go to Debo.
Oh,
Take Washington off, and I'll go to Debo. Because I considered him anyway. So
Well, Ray, you got a couple. You got your. We got like what 3 or 4 running backs out here now. What do you think about your Gore pick?
I'll take. I'm gonna start with Ayuk.
Okay, Ayuk. Okay.
Okay. And I'll go to. I guess I'll go to Craig. I guess.
Oh,
There you go.
puts Craig in.
I actually kind of like
Um,
your McCaffrey pick, Drew. I just don't know where to leave to go help you.
I don't know. I think McCaffrey can be just as useful as Debo can be. I feel like
Probably, I agree with that.
I don't know. I think
I just picked Debo just because he's used in a lot of different ways. So I feel like you can just do.
I think they're both just used in that
Yeah.
way. Like I
I
think
think both be a really good weapon in 7-on-7.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone else, I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but
I mean,
I like the McCaffrey.
I think we gushed over how great McCaffrey would be in 7-on-7 when we did the Panthers episode.
I mean, I'm cool going with McCaffrey instead of Debo if anyone else wants to jump ship with me. But
Well, I'm not against it, but
I'm not against it either.
but let me ask this first. Would it be beneficial to have both of them?
well, who else? Who else you want to wait?
Well-
What we got so far?
Well, right now we've got 6 in. So
yeah.
Okay, so who else would you want to take away?
I don't know. I hadn't thought that far ahead. I was just.
Well, I mean, well,
I feel like it'd have to be the
That's-
tight end or the other running back.
I thought it might be Dwight Clark, honestly.
Oh, okay, or Dwight Clark.
I mean, Dwight Clark is very famous.
but he probably has
but-
the
but
worst
it-
numbers.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely the worst number wise up there.
Well, I could be wrong on this. Uncle Doug, you'd probably know this. Wasn't he their number one receiver for like their first 2 Super Bowls? Because Rice
yeah.
wasn't there for their first few Super Bowls, and I thought Clark
Yeah,
was
he,
their
I'm
number
gonna
one.
say
Montana's guy.
Rice definitely missed at least one, if not two
Yeah.
of them.
I think Rice has 3 total, and he won 1 with Steve Young. So I
Yeah.
think he would have got 2 with
When was their
Montana.
first Super Bowl?
I don't remember the exact year.
I don't remember.
I know there was one in '84 because they won the year before the Bears, but I think they won one in what, '80 or '81, I think.
Okay,
played
they
the
won.
Beng-
Yeah, they won one in '81. I just pulled it
Okay.
up. They won one in '81. I'm trying to pull this up here.
Okay, we got Steve Young. We obviously are not getting rid of Rice or Owens. I'd say we all agree on that.
I think
right?
we're good with Kittle. I think.
Yeah.
Go with Kittle.
Mm,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about. So it'd be more beneficial to have 2 running backs that are absolutely nuts.
So
receiving
it's
the ball?
whether we want an extra running back, we want an extra receiver.
Okay. I mean, Craig was so good at catching the ball. Part of me doesn't really want to get rid of him either.
I know.
I don't know.
Joe Montana won his Super Bowls with San Fran in '81, '84, '88, and '89.
Well, what's everybody thinking?
I mean, I don't think we can really go wrong with any of them. I was intrigued by McCaffrey. I didn't know if anybody else wanted to do it with me, but we can't agree on anybody. I don't know.
I mean, it's so stacked. I mean,
They are all really good.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
franchises would kill to have like 3 of these guys.
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like some of those weeks were bad, but then this week we're switching out offensive players of the years for MVPs and like I don't know. It's just
I left my heart in San Francisco.
Thanks, Ray.
You're welcome.
Oh goodness. Oh, we gotta do something here, boys.
Yeah.
My mic stand is being difficult.
I'll tell it to
I know
stop.
we've make this episode last forever, so I don't really want this to drag out. So I'm kind of afraid to make a move to do anything major.
Yeah.
But
Well, I guess here's my next question: is when we do a tournament with these teams, what's going to lead us to help this team win? Is it going to be difference? Like we've done in the past, where we're like, oh, we're going to put 3 running backs and a tight end on the field, because it's weird.
and that gives
you
that
know.
gives the Titans the best chance to win.
well, the Titans
You
are
know.
one of their ball games.
Or is it going to be
Power
like,
screen game. Let's go.
They're gonna win a game. I'm telling you right now.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm picking them to win first. Easy.
When they play the Colts,
They might still win. Our defense is pretty bad.
you're not. You guys aren't tackling those
Unless
3
Bob Sanders
monsters.
gets a hold of them. I don't think anyone's going down.
Bob
Rely on
Sanders,
Peyton Manning
Bob
to score
Sanders is
every
going to be
time.
dead by the end of that game.
Yeah. Poor Vontae Davis ain't gonna help too much. Hopefully. Okay, so you have Jerry Rice and T.O. already at wide receiver. So I
True.
think you have 2 of like the top 5 receivers ever already. So I think outside of those 2, you probably just want guys that can do different things that give you more variety. So I think having Kittle is good, having a tight end that can patrol the middle and be hard to bring down. And then I think it's just more of who brings more versatility out of Clark, Craig, Debo, and McCaffrey.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, if you have McCaffrey, Debo, Craig, and Kittle all out there, like,
Those are just matchup
nobody can
nightmares.
tackle any of these guys.
That's true.
Like they all are super, super physical.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
I don't know.
matchup nightmares across the board there. Like
What was
whoever the seventh guy is for the other team's defense is not. You don't want to see any of them.
What was Clark's specialty? He's the one guy I didn't watch play.
Yeah, Dad. What was
Well,
Clark?
He was like,
He's like a go up and get it
he
guy?
just caught everything. Yeah.
how
Is it
big
short
was he?
and
How
rude
big
to
was
him?
he?
I
I
got
think
you.
he's like 6'4".
6'4", 212.
Oh, so he's a go up and get it guy.
Yeah.
Can he move?
I mean,
at
that
all?
ball that he caught, the
But
famous
he
catch,
goes up there,
it's up there.
He goes
Yeah.
up there and gets it.
Yeah.
Well, outside of him though, is there? I mean, obviously Owens and Rice can do a variety of things, but would he be the only jump ball specialist?
What about Kittle? I mean, a specialist, not so much, but
Kittle's more of just an over the middle.
Dwight Clark ran a
Tasmanian
4.7, by
devil.
the way.
4.7.
Yeah. He's not blazing fast.
Well, actually, Jerry Rice didn't. Jerry Rice run like a 4.6, and the actual.
He's not. Yeah, he's
40
not.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not real
Jerry,
fast. Yeah.
but he looks in some of his highlights.
But in the
Jerry,
games, he's running past people. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know.
no, I have to see. What,
I mean, I guess if I was going to throw a jump ball to somebody on this team, it would be T.O.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's a bad option.
Yeah.
oh, Jerry ran a 4.7 at the combine.
Yeah. But even T.O., I thought he more specialized in going over the middle and being hard as fuck to tackle. Because he was a brick shithouse at wide receiver, built like a bodybuilder.
Oh,
He definitely
yeah.
was that.
I think he did everything a little bit, obviously, but I don't know. I thought stat-wise, Debo was kind of the worst stat guy. Obviously, McCaffrey has the least amount of receiving yards, but he's been there he really only played 2 seasons. He didn't really play.
And he's
last
got
year.
over 1,000 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns.
Clark had like 6,000 or 7,000, I thought, with the 49ers. Debo, I thought, only had like 4,000, 5,000.
Yeah, he's right below 5,000.
Debo had like one monster season and then a bunch of like okay seasons with injuries mixed in.
Injuries are definitely. I mean, him and McCaffrey both have the same problem.
Yeah,
Neither one of them stay
yeah.
healthy.
I mean, I like Debo and he does a lot of different things, but I don't know.
All right,
We gotta make a decision here.
fuck it. I'm gonna come off Debo and go to McCaffrey.
All right,
All right.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yes.
Whatever.
There you go. I got you a 1.
I got me a 1.
That's right. I didn't have Debo to begin with anyway, so.
All right, that's a pretty nasty roster.
So that leaves our 7 as Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark, Terrell Owens, George Kittle, Roger Craig, and Christian McCaffrey. Now let's move on to defense.
1 hour in.
Drew, who is your first?
Well, I have
49ers
a
defense?
question first. Is Dion on the Cowboys?
I think we did. I think we put him.
Because if not, I'm going to put him on here because I think he gets.
I think I asked because
Dion's on the Cowboys.
Ah.
So we put him on the Cowboys and the Falcons.
Yeah, because I thought it'd be awesome if we had Ronnie Lott and Sander and Dion on this team.
Yeah.
And then you have T.O. and Jerry on the offense.
Yeah.
But the 2 greatest duos ever. Like on
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
Dion's
Well,
on the Falcons too. So
I know he's on the Falcons. We have to put him on the Falcons. But
he's out.
oh, so he's on the Cowboys. Well, I'll go with Ronnie Lott then. Man, my second choice. The real. Well, old Ronnie, his time in
Oh yeah.
San Fran, he played 10 years. He had 51 interceptions in his time. He was All-Pro 5 times, 4 first teams, 1 second team. This still boggles my mind that Ronnie Lott does not have a Defense Player of the Year. But he's a 4-time Super Bowl champ, 10-time Pro Bowler. He's all 80s and all 90s teams, and everyone knows the story about him cutting his pinky off to keep playing. You don't see that kind of toughness today in football, just saying. The guys will have the surgery and be out a month or 2.
You don't see that anywhere. You see LaFlop James crying over tears that he slipped on.
Did you hear him the other day talk about how they should get a month off between the regular season and the playoffs?
Yeah, that's the lamest fucking
What?
comment I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, he was
That's
talking to Steve
dumb.
Nash and said that there should be a month off for the players to get ready for the playoffs.
What a bitch.
That's part of the grind.
A month?
Going into the
Oh,
If you
come
told me,
on.
hey, after game 82, we're going to give you 2 days off before the playoff starts, I'd be like, okay, fine. But if you really want that, then don't be in the play-in.
Yeah.
Like win
True.
more, be a top 6 seed. You get
Yeah.
like a week off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Also, Ronnie has 1,100 tackles too as well. Led the league one time in tackles. One of his lower years too, which is wild. But Ryan Law's one of the all-time, just defensive backs in general that we talk about. So
Indeed. All right, Wade, you got somebody for us?
Well, there was a lot of guys I actually wasn't overly familiar with. There's some other older guys that I'm sure we're going to talk about that had some decent numbers. But there was one guy who I knew, who's a current guy who just had a really nice couple seasons for him a couple years ago, and I went with Charvarius Ward.
I did too.
I did too.
Yep, I have Ward as well.
He started off his career as the go-to corner for Kansas City during the beginning of their current dynasty, and then as they always do, they let their number one corner go, and then they make another one somehow. Then he went to San Francisco and had a couple really nice years. Made a Pro Bowl and a second-team All-Pro just 2 years ago. He's one of the better corners in the league right now. He actually just signed with the Colts in the offseason. So we're excited to have him. Yeah, he's just been one of the better corners over the past 4 or 5 years in the league, and really good guy, and has helped numerous teams make Super Bowls, and yeah, he's a beast.
Who didn't have him?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Fair enough. All right, Uncle Doug, we're on to you, sir.
Okay, I went with another corner. I went with Eric Wright.
Says
Yeah.
I.
Yep, I do too.
Gonna be one of them weeks for Ray.
Oh no.
Okay. Eric's actually a Mizzou boy. He went to the University of Missouri. He played 10 years, all 10 with the Niners, from 81 to 90. He had 2 Pro Bowls, an All-Pro, 4 Super Bowls. He did have a second-team All-Pro as well. So, 18 interceptions. 2 of those he ran back for touchdowns. 5 fumble recoveries. Don't really have tackle numbers. As a Rams fan, I remember seeing Eric play corner for the Niners, and they just kept winning and winning and winning. So,
Fair enough. All right, Ray, what you got for us, buddy?
All right, I went with a linebacker.
Love your linebackers. I love it.
They call him the Intimidator,
Oh gosh, that could be any linebacker. Hopefully.
Dave Wilcox.
Oh, sorry, what I thought it was going to be. You're tricky, Ray. You're tricky.
I know.
I would
So
say
what-
not only is it a linebacker, I don't know who the hell he is. So
6'3", 240. Hopefully, he's got some good side to side speed.
Something, you know.
I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's got 7 Pro Bowls and
No.
three All Pros.
His first year in the league's 1964.
Oh.
64 to 74.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay.
I can do cornerbacks from the 60s. I can't do linebackers.
14.
Ray, you're getting hated on. You catch us some heat here.
I
I
don't
ain't
get.
guard no one.
You know what? At this part of the year, I don't give a fuck because guess what? Pacers in the finals. So suck
that's
it.
right.
So you
Go
suck it.
Pacers.
I can't.
He's got 14 interceptions and 1 touchdown, 12 fumble recoveries, 36 sacks. Never seen a brother play, but
Probably not.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Probably not. But
Dad, did you see old Dave play?
Maybe, but I don't remember. I'm
Maybe.
sorry.
And Dad says maybe. That's not good. Oh no.
All right. Well, I think we're around to me.
Yep.
I went with none other than Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got him as well.
I have that one.
Rascals on my list.
You said he is or isn't?
Is.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. He's second on team history in interceptions. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's on the All 70s team. He's got 5 Pro Bowls and 5 All Pros. 3 first team. He's got 47 career interceptions. He played his entire 16-year career with San Francisco from 61 to 76. And he was 6'2", 187. So kind of a tall corner. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. I mean, if you're wondering, Ray, I didn't watch this guy play either.
Sweet.
Yep.
Glad to hear it.
Yep. Now, Drew, we're back around to you, buddy.
Well, I have a linebacker, so the hate I was just giving to Ray, but mine's definitely a very versatile linebacker. I went with Fred Warner. Their linebacker they have now.
Cool. Way to go, dude.
No.
Way to go, Drew.
Well, he's 4-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. He's got 10 career interceptions. He's been one of the best linebackers in the league for the last 3 or 4 years. And he does both. He can do the run and pass. So I thought having him be able to be in the middle of the defense would be good.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that it's much of a debate anymore. He is the best linebacker in football.
He was
And
pretty
has
good.
I
been
would
for
say,
a couple
yeah.
years.
This last
He is
year was
good.
pretty
much been him and Roquan Smith for a few years now.
And Drew was the only one to have him.
Yeah.
I didn't have him.
I'll be honest with you. I quit looking at linebackers quite a while ago for teams. So unless it was a team where I was like, I can't find anybody I know, let's see if I can look at some linebackers, because I know they have an all-time grade or something. But I don't even look at them anymore.
Fred
True.
Warner is good in coverage.
Oh, he is good.
He is, yeah.
He'll be able to do something.
Drew, at least my linebacker had a cool nickname.
That's true. Fred Warner doesn't have a nickname.
Yeah. They just call him Fred Warner.
I mean, Fred is his nickname, actually, because his real name is.
Frederico.
Yeah.
Ooh, Frederico.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But not as good as the Intimidators. So
The Intimidate.
All right, Wade. I think we're to you, buddy.
All right. Well, I literally went with this guy because of his name and his interception numbers. I don't know who the fuck he is. When I saw the name Kermit, went straight to it.
Yep.
Kermit Alexander Jr.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have Kermit as well.
1963 to 1969. Your name's Kermit, and you're putting up those interception numbers. It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Kermit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ah,
Oh,
four.
Uncle
Dad,
Doug-
you don't have the
Uncle
old-
Doug ditching the old guys.
Yeah.
You got a Pro Bowl and an Alan Page.
What is the
Yeah.
Alan Page Award? I hear it all the time. What is the Alan Page Award?
Drew, he had 36 interceptions in 7 years. Kermit was killing people.
Wait, I'm with you.
I
I have Kermit. I just want to know what the Alan Page
I just want
Award
to
is.
drop knowledge about Kermit. He's just a rascal.
Junior.
I don't know. I
Junior.
I clicked on it and it did
There's a
not.
senior out
Nothing
there
came
somewhere.
up.
Kermit Alexander.
You have to click on Kermit Alexander, not Kermit the Frog.
No. I mean, I clicked on the Alan Page Award
Oh.
and it didn't. No explanation came up.
I'll
It just
Google
it just gave me the history of who won. So I don't know what the Alan Page Award
Oh,
is.
the NFLPA Alan Page Community Award has been awarded by the National Football League since 1967. So he won a community award.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Walter Payton Man of the Year.
It's the off-brand
Yeah.
Walter Payton
So
Man of the Year.
Kermit was a good guy.
Yeah, it was a good
In the
guy.
community, yes.
Picking off passes and handing out soup.
Yeah.
He was just-
Hey, you
How-
don't get 43 career interceptions and be a bum.
Yeah.
He started off his career like a house on fire. 36 in 7 years. Just tearing it up.
It's a true story. All right. Well, I think we're to you, Uncle Doug.
Well, I went with Merton Hanks.
Yeah, I got him.
I didn't throw him on.
I did. I got.
I
It.
got him as well. I think I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm done.
4 Pro Bowls, couple All-Pro. Well, first team All-Pro. And then he's got 3 second-team All-Pros.
You're missing
Super
out.
Bowl championship, 33 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 10 fumble recoveries. He's got 3 sacks, almost 500 combo tackles with 280 solos. He's just solid safety. Played corner a year, strong safety a year, but mostly free safety. 6'2", 185.
Yes, sir. All right, Ray. You got another one for us?
Got another linebacker too.
Oh, no.
Another linebacker, huh?
Hall of Famer, 7-time Pro Bowler, 5 All-Pro, Hall of Fame All 2000s team, 2007 AP Defensive Rookie of the Year,
Yeah.
Patrick Willis.
Okay, I can get behind
I
Patrick
like
Willis.
Patrick Willis.
I do like Patrick Willis.
He was a beast.
But he only played 8 years, which is crazy. Started all his 112 games, 8 interceptions, 2 for TDs, 16 forced fumbles, 5 home recoveries, 20 sacks, 950 combined tackles. I mean, I remember watching football back in the day and hearing this dude's name and just lights out, dude.
Who was the guy that played with him?
Murray Bowman.
There you go. When Bowman and Willis were on the field together, it was a scary proposition.
Yeah.
They had a good defense there.
Well, he almost kind of replicated it with his newer team, but then Trey Greenlaw got injury prone.
Yeah, he
Greenlaw
did.
and Warner, and it was like they're back. The two
Yeah.
Greenlaw got hurt running on the field.
Greenlaw has been Denver now.
Him and the safety, that Hawaiian safety that was
Yeah.
a couple years ago. They both went to
Yeah.
Broncos.
I think if I was some of the AFC teams, I'm not saying scared of them, but I think I'd be keeping my eye on Denver.
Denver's got a lot of young defensive talent, and their offense is coming around.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Sean Payton fan, but he's a good coach. He
Turn them around pretty quickly.
better than what they had before.
Yeah.
Who was that one coach? The guy from the Jets or whatever. That wasn't it Aaron Hackett or whatever. Wasn't he like their offensive?
Oh,
coordinator?
yeah. Aaron
Had a rough,
Rodgers'
like,
boy.
year or two where everybody just made
Yeah.
fun of him.
Yeah.
Rough. Yeah.
Lame Duck City.
All right, who we at now here?
I think we're around to me. And for my final pick, oh boy, this is my last guy. I went with Tony Parrish. Safety, played for obviously the 49ers. I thought I was in the wrong team for a second. He was drafted by none other than the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
And he's a November guy, Drew.
Man, I finally got someone on my roster now. Might be the first guy we've talked about.
Yeah, he's got an All-Pro, 22 picks, a little over 600 tackles. There he is. Yep, I'm out. Anybody else got anybody?
I got two people left.
Yeah.
Oh, two. Okay. Well, wait.
Well, this guy is just one of the few guys I actually knew. I think he was a Madden guy that I remember. Deshaun Goldson,
Oh yeah.
the old defensive back.
Okay.
Made a couple Pro Bowls and a first team All Pro. Spent the whole first part of his career with San Francisco. If I remember correctly, he was a very good hard hitting safety that put up some decent interception years for about 3-4 years. Most of his prime seasons all came with San Francisco. He made both of his Pro Bowls and his first team All Pro there. Yeah, for a few years he had 4, 6, 3 interceptions, put up some pretty big tackle numbers, and he was just a guy I remember. There's a lot of guys on this list who I do not remember. Yeah, I just remember him, so I went with him.
How does he spell his name?
Which one, first or last?
Either.
First name is Dashon.
All right, I got him.
Dashing.
It's Goldson. I was thinking Golson, like Golston.
So it's gold
Yeah,
and
gold.
sun.
Yeah.
So gold sun.
Old son.
You want me to do my last one, or you want to go with the?
I'll go.
Okay.
I went with Dwight Hicks.
Yep, that's my final.
All right.
Just went down the interception.
You should have.
4 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowl championships, 32 interceptions. I ran 3 of them back for touchdowns. 14 fumble recoveries. Ran one of those back for a touchdown. 1.5 sacks. Like I said, 4 Pro Bowls, second team All Pro, 2 Super Bowl championships. Just another solid. He played a little corner, but mostly safety.
Fair enough. Is that everybody?
I got one left.
I've got one left too.
Oh wow.
Are you out, Ray?
Yeah, I went out with Hicks.
All right. Well, Sorry, I keep trying to cut you guys off. Go ahead, Wade.
The last one was the guy who I kind of somewhat remembered or thought I did anyway. Eric Davis,
That's my last one
I
as
looked
well.
at him.
two-time Pro Bowler,
Who was
one-time
it?
first-team All-Pro,
Eric
Bowl
Davis.
champion.
Yeah, I thought about Eric. That Eric.
Had 38 interceptions for his career. Again, spent like the first half of his career in San Francisco. Had some nice seasons there. Made his first team All Pro and his first Pro Bowl there. Yeah, he's just a really good corner. I just didn't want to put too many safeties on, so I went and got me another corner.
Yep, I did as well. Boy, we got a mess.
Yeah, what is
I
that?
think-
Was that like 15 or 16?
16.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Oh, wait, hold on.
What? That me? 16?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, you didn't start at the top.
Yeah, I didn't start at the
oh,
top.
okay. I was about to say,
four-
holy.
So,
So
we're at
12. We're at 12.
And
Okay.
10 guys for 6 spots.
I was shocked the 49ers didn't have more well-known defensive backs.
yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
Well, Lott and Johnson are already in.
Right, we got 2 in.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and make a move. I'm going to take Parrish off. So
Okay.
there's one less guy.
Where are you going?
And I'm going to go to Warner.
Warner.
Okay.
Okay.
You like that.
Let's see. Who do I got here? I'll take Mr. Wilcox off. And I'll go to right. I'll go to right.
So Wright's in.
Oh, so Eric's in then?
1, 2, 3.
Yes, that Eric is in.
Eric Wright is in.
I was the only one with Goldson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, take Goldson off, and I'll go to. Who was the one that I ever drove? Merton Hanks sounded pretty damn good. I'll go to him.
All right.
He has some nice credentials.
All right. So now we got.
Right. If you want to join the linebacker train, you got to come to the one leaving the station. Come on.
Who's that?
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. He's got 2.
Oh,
So if you want to make it 3 from one of your other linebacker spots.
I'm not too sure about that.
No.
Or are you the one that doesn't have Ward?
Yeah, I don't have
One of
Ward.
their better corners in.
Yeah, I'll take Patrick Willis and go to Ward.
There we go. So Ward's in.
How
So
many
we got 5 in now.
Yeah.
And we're looking at Kermit and Warner,
Then Hicks and Davis.
Hicks and Davis. Yeah.
Honestly, I just feel like we need Davis in just because I feel like there's a lot of linebackers and safeties. That's just really was my main concern with bringing Davis on.
Mm, 2, 3, 4.
Hanks is safety.
5.
Hicks is safety. Hanks is a safety. Lots of safety, and Warner's a linebacker.
Just a bunch of safeties
That's over
roaming
half
around.
the team, they can't line up against anybody.
Maybe they'll play zone.
Maybe
Some of these teams are going to have to play zone if they want to have a chance.
at least somewhat. Yeah.
But here's the other thing, though, too. We've kind of switched up our. It's gonna be matchup dependent because we've switched up what we do with some of these teams, and we put a bunch of running backs and tight ends out there. So if you don't have a linebacker, who the hell's gonna tackle these guys?
Let's go with the strong safety.
That's kinda like
Yeah.
safeties.
Better hope your safeties are.
Yeah. Like, if we get a team with like 6 corners, like
But there's teams that Titans will not.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Right.
I know.
There are teams
You're not
that the Titans
tackling
will
Derrick
march right down
Henry,
the field.
Eddie George, and who's the big tight end we put on there?
White
White
check.
check.
White check. Blocking for Chris Johnson. It's just going to be a
Whitecheck's, like,
tunnel.
bigger than Gronk. He was huge.
Yeah.
Huge. He was like 6'5", like 275.
Well, then we put AJ Brown on there too.
Probably.
I think we did. Yeah.
I don't
It
think.
was like what Earl Campbell and.
Oh, I forgot about
George
Earl
and Henry. Like
and Chris Johnson.
you could tell the defense. We're throwing a screen, and they're not going to do that.
All right. So I have Warner and Kermit.
I have Warner and Kermit.
I don't even fucking know anymore.
I have Davis and Hicks.
I have Davis. I don't think I have Hicks.
I've got Kermit and Hicks.
Yeah, Ray and I have Hicks. You and I have Davis.
I have Davis and Kermit. Yeah. I get the Kermit in, guys.
I have Kermit.
I do too. Who does? Who,
I'm the Kermit.
oh,
Oh no, Dad's the hold that on the old guy.
Who's got Warner?
Me and
Drew.
Alex.
Us over here on the love seat.
Yeah,
So let's
the
see,
love
Eric
seat
Davis
buddies.
is corner.
Ooh.
Safety. I'd rather have Davis than Hicks. Who has Hicks with me? That you, Ray?
Yeah, I got Hicks.
Well, I could come off Hicks and put Kermit in.
I thought you needed a mic.
Oh, sorry. I can come off Hicks and put Kermit in.
Okay. I mean, I can roll up to Warner, I guess.
Ooh, yeah.
There we go.
Come on. I'm not gonna drag this out. Just put Davis on Warner.
Yeah, might as well, I
I'll
guess.
sit here for another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Come on.
Play some zone coverage. Have Warner free, just running around.
Well, that makes our starting 7 for the defense: Ronnie Lott, Charvarius Ward, Eric Wright, Jimmy Johnson, Fred Warner, Kermit Alexander, and Merton Hanks.
I'm coming for you, Wade.
I think
And
in
then the
this
one
episode
counter.
I dropped. I think I got 3 in one episode.
And
I've been
then-
listening to him at work, and it's like every week. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I've been on a roll lately. This is probably the first week I haven't gotten at least 1 or 2.
That wraps up our 7-on-7 talk and will lead us into MVP discussion. And we think we have an interesting one, even though we've been going on forever.
125.
This does look interesting. It's good.
It does. So Joe Montana of the San Francisco 49ers won this MVP, where he threw for 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions, and ran for 162 yards and another TD. In second place was none other than Randall Cunningham of my Philadelphia Eagles, who lost in a close vote, by the way. He threw for 3,400 yards, 30 TDs, and 13 interceptions, and ran for 942 yards and 5 TDs. And then in third place was the aforementioned Oilers with Warren Moon, who also got a fair amount of votes, threw for 4,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 13 picks, and then ran for another 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bruce Smith came in fourth with 19 sacks. Jim Kelly came in fifth. I'm not 100% sure why, with 2,800 yards and 24 touchdowns and 9 picks.
Old Jim.
Touchdown.
Steve DeBerg for the Chiefs threw for 3,400 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 4 picks, and ran for -5 yards. And Jerry Rice rounds out the vote getters, who had 1 vote for Jerry Rice. He had 100 catches for 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. I don't think Jerry or DeBerg or Kelly or even Bruce Smith are what made this interesting. I thought it was the top 3 guys. Montana, Cunningham, and Moon made this a very, very interesting vote.
I mean, just by the numbers, Montana I think is the worst of the 3.
Right, yeah. I'm thinking Warren Moon.
He threw the
looks
most.
Really
He threw
good.
the most picks, the least amount of touchdowns, and came in second in yards.
Well, if you combine Cunningham's both of his yards, does he have more than Montana? With his
Oh
90?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
by a
by a
lot,
lot.
like by 500 yards.
I
Yeah,
kinda I mean, Moon passing wise is definitely superior. I kind of like Cunningham's all around numbers.
the Oilers are 9-7 this year, so that probably did hurt Moon. The Eagles were 10-6, and the 49ers were 14-2.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, the 49ers win another Super Bowl.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now again, I have nothing against Joe Montana, but he also has another teammate on this voting right
Right, you
here.
got Jerry Rice.
Not just another teammate. Jerry's a little bit different. Not everyone has a Jerry roaming around.
No.
Who was old Warren throwing at the ball back in 1990 for the Oilers?
Apparently, whoever he
Yeah.
wanted, that dude had 4,700 freaking yards.
Who was he slinging the ball to?
I'm looking.
Warren had a fascinating career. He had some years that I looked at where I was like, dang, he was doing some crazy shit. And you look at some other years, you're like, oh, wow, that was bad.
Haywood Jeffries had over 1,000 yards. Drew Hill had over 1,000. Didn't he play for the Cowboys? Drew Hill.
Yeah, I think he may have played for the Cowboys for a while.
Drew Hill had a
I remember Hayward
R&B
Jeffries,
group.
And then Curtis Duncan had almost 800 yards. Ernest Givings had almost 1,000
Givings,
yards.
yeah, I
Just a
remember
couple thousand. Yeah, I mean, so he had 4 guys with pretty decent amount of yards there, and they had touchdowns of 8, 9, 5, and 6.
But what's ridiculous to me is the Niners had a 14-2 record, and Montana had a subpar stat line amongst these other two quarterbacks. You would think that he would have, especially with Jerry Rice being on the MVP vote as well, that he would have put up better numbers and at least showed out a little bit on his MVP list. But instead, Moon had a subpar record and threw at least miles above Montana.
Well, I mean, I would guess that Moon. I just named you as top receivers. You didn't know
Right.
any of them were.
No.
So I think that's part of it. But I would also say that lesser teams sometimes do put up bigger numbers because they're coming from behind and they're playing
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean,
Maybe.
All the major sports back in the day, winning was the number one factor into MVP.
yeah.
I mean, fucking Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 and 25 and didn't win the MVP because Bill Russell won it because he was on the winning Celtics team. Yankee
Yeah.
players used to always beat out Ted Williams, like we've talked
Right.
about, because they were on the
Yeah.
Yankees and they were winning more games.
But that's not
It's just the way of
Baseball is
Yeah,
a really bad
it's the
one.
way people thought back then.
right. I understand that, but I mean, I'm not agreeing that was right.
No, I'm not.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. with
That's
that.
why we have this
I've always
segment.
complained about the MVP.
That's the way of the thinking was for
Yeah.
a long, long time. So with him winning 14 games plus having good stats, for a lot
I mean,
of
yeah,
people, that
he was
probably
he
it.
was just 60 yards from throwing for 4,000 yards in the 80s, or I guess what
He had
1990.
He had good numbers. The other two were just a little bit more prolific
Mhm.
Yeah.
in different ways.
Oh yeah.
But now Warren winning the MVP with 9 wins would probably be a little difficult. You usually want to have a little bit more wins than that. But I mean, I also don't know what the Oilers roster was like, so I don't know if he carried a terrible team in 9 wins or what
Yeah,
they
I
were
don't-
like.
I mean, they could have put up big scoring numbers, and then the defense just shit it away.
Well, they
had
had
I
the
don't really
they had the
remember.
14th ranked defense in points and the
average.
second overall offense.
okay.
Okay.
So
And who was Randall playing with in the Eagles?
Did that really tall receiver?
No, he would have been gone by
Harold
then.
Carmichael.
No,
He'd probably been gone by then. Yeah.
Okay.
But I've always liked Randall Cunningham.
Receiving yards.
He had a pretty amazing all around numbers.
Keith Byers had 800 yards.
That was
Fred
running
Bar-
back. Yeah.
Oh, that's a running back. Yeah, you're
I
right.
remember Keith Byers.
Yeah, it's a running back had 800 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a pretty nice year. He only averaged 3.8 yards per carry, but Fred Barnett had 700 yards. Keith Jackson had 600. Calvin Williams had 600.
I think Keith Jackson was tight end.
Yes, he was.
Okay, I remember him too.
That's it. I know a bunch of guys in the 100s.
So Randall was really carrying the team. He and Byers and Jackson, running back, tight end, and Randall. And Randall ran for what, 900 yards?
He was the team's leading rusher.
Almost ran for 1,000 yards.
And he had 30 passing touchdowns.
Yes.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna go Randall.
That's kind of where I'm leaning. I mean, I like.
They were the third offense in the league and 12th defense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This was the Buddy Ryan team, so their defense wasn't going to be terrible,
that's true.
But
Yeah, and like I said, I think in the Eagles episode, I went with Randall Cunningham because I really liked him. So I'd go with Randall here.
I think those all around numbers in that time period is pretty unheard of. So, I mean, I'd probably go. And they won 10. They went 10-6. So
yeah,
I'd probably go with him in that one.
I could be talked into going to Randall Cunningham.
Yeah. Like, I understand the wins argument, but the other two guys, I felt like just, I don't know, Cunningham at least won 10 games. Plus, they had this amazing all-around numbers that at that time period probably hadn't really been done before. I'm not sure how many quarterbacks were throwing for 30 touchdowns and running for almost 1,000 yards.
I feel like it's an underrated thing because we've seen it quite a bit in the 2000s. But I bet him running for 900 yards that season, everybody was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
what's he
I
doing?
mean, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. I bet Buddy Ryan didn't like it.
But I bet
you're
even-
probably right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was his own coach.
Even with some of the guys we've seen run around a lot, like obviously we've seen Lamar do some crazy stuff like real recently, but even like Michael Vick in the earlier 2000s, he had some gnarly rushing seasons, but his passing numbers were never that good with the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
He had the one year at the Eagles where he passed really well, but he wasn't running that much at that point.
No, if we're talking about having the passing numbers to go along with it, I think the only players to do that are Lamar, and probably Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
it's not like Cam was having great throwing seasons, really.
Cam was a
that
different kind of
one.
runner. Cam was more of like a. Obviously, he ran for a decent amount of yards. I'm not saying he never got yards, but he was like got a bunch of goal line touchdowns, like a power runner, like you could use in certain situations. And then obviously he would scramble at times to get yards. Russell Wilson, at the beginning of his career, ran for a lot of yards, and he always had some pretty high touchdown totals.
I guess here's my thing. Why the fuck did Jim Kelly get 5 MVP votes? He didn't even throw for 3,000 yards.
I think this is their first year where they kind of bust onto the scene.
That could be.
So I think that, remember their high-powered, fast offense.
K-Gun.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I'm guessing that's why they got votes. He got a couple votes for that. This is their first Super Bowl year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 90 is their
Oh
first
yeah,
one.
they lost in the Super Bowl 20-19.
90, 91, 92, 93.
That's a devastating score to lose to.
Dude, they beat the Raiders 51-3 in the conference championship.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, going into the Super Bowl, they scored almost 100 points in 2 games.
Yeah, 44 and 51 is what they scored in the first 2 games, and they got beat 19-20.
Yeah, because the Bills slowed down their offense.
The Giants, you mean?
No, I'm talking about the coaches' Bills. Bill
Oh,
Belichick and Bill
got-
Parcells.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah, they slowed them. That's what they said. They said they just took the ball away and they just ground and pounded and they took the possessions away from them. So
Thurman Thomas had 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns.
Thurman Thomas had a run there for a while where he was doing some amazing all-around stuff.
Yeah, he got an MVP, right?
yeah,
so.
he gets one.
He had some gnarly all-around numbers for a while.
All right, so is everybody in agreement of Randall, or does somebody else have something else?
I'm going with Moon. I like.
Yeah, I'm with Ray. I'm going with Moon.
Yeah.
I'll go Randall.
I'm going Randall.
Yeah.
I don't think either one are bad picks.
They're both, I think, better than Montana either way. I would be happier.
Split decision.
All right, well, that wraps up our MVP discussion and this episode. We appreciate you tuning in for this 49ers episode, and we would appreciate you tuning in next week for our final football team episode, where we'll be going over the Seattle Seahawks, our last football team, and then we'll have an episode of the tournament for these 7-on-7 teams. But we also wanted to announce before we went off the air our next topic of conversation. So we will be moving on to baseball after this, where we will be doing every team's starting 9. And we're calling it starting 9, although that may not be true, because there may be 10, but starting 9 just sounds good because that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what will be our next topic. We'll give you more information on that as we go on. But that'll be that. And thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.